Welcome class to the final video for 11.4, to our third section of it. So, before we dive into the new material, let's review what we've done so far. What we've been working on so far is when we're just dividing by simple monomials. I write down, so that's 6x is really 2 times 3 times x. That 2x squared is really 2 times x times x. And so, each time I do this, I want to indicate what is it missing. So this 6x, what is it missing that the 2x squared has? Well, it's missing an x over x. The 2x squared, what is it missing that the 6 has? Well, it's missing a 3. So, once I've identified that that's what each of the terms is missing, now I start multiplying. So I get x squared over 6x squared. And then I'm subtracting. Now I'm going to distribute that. So I have 3x plus 3. And on the bottom I have 6x squared. Now, because of that negative, we have to remember that negative is going to both terms. So here what you end up getting is x squared. You're subtracting 3x and subtracting 3. However, remember that denominator stays the same. The whole point of this was to get that common denominator so it can stay the same. So that's how we did it when we were dealing with just dividing by monomials. Now today we're moving on to where there's going to be binomials in our denominator. So this is a little bit harder of a situation. Now, you really can't break up a binomial, okay? So monomials we could break down. 6 is 2 times 3, x squared is 2 times 2. Well, you can't break up monomials, okay? So what that means is when we're looking at these is, what is that 6x minus 1 lacking? Well, it's lacking 6x plus 1. I'm just going to take straight from there, okay? What is a 6x plus 1 lacking? Well, it's lacking 6x minus 1. So I'm just going to pull that straight from there. So when you're dealing with binomials, things that are more complicated in the denominator, you're really just pulling from one to multiply the other by the top and bottom, okay? So what ends up happening is for that first fraction, 6x plus 1 times 1 just stays 6x plus 1. Then we have the denominator of 6x plus 1, 6x minus 1. We look at our second fraction. So 3 times 6x minus 1. And again, notice we're going to have to distribute that. So you end up getting 18x minus 3. And notice you have that same denominator. So the point of getting that common denominator was because now it's the same. Now that we've done that, we can actually add these two things together. So 6x plus 18x is 24x. 1 minus 3 gives us a minus 2. Now on the bottom, how do we deal with things that look like that? If I want to write that in normal standard form, 6x plus 1, 6x minus 1, if I want to take that and write it in standard form, remember that is our foiling process. Okay, so again, I'm not going to take too much time on the foiling. However, I want you to take some time to work it out. So 6x times 6x gives us 36x squared. 6x times 1 is 6x, but then we have 6x times negative 1, canceling it because of the negative 6x there. then 1 times negative 1 is minus 1. And so that is what we end up getting when we actually combine these fractions together. Now again, let's step through a couple more problems to really digest what this really looks like. So, looking at this one. So again, when we're dividing by binomial expressions, you can't really break it up like we were doing before. So I take that x minus 4. And I'm going to multiply that top and bottom over here. I'm going to take the x plus 4 from there and multiply top and bottom over here. Because now I'm going to have a common denominator of x plus 4, x minus 4. So the first fraction, when you distribute that x, you get x squared minus 4x. X squared minus 4x. In our second one, we're going to get 3x and 12. Then we have that same common denominator still. So now I've written what I get for both of my fractions. So what do I do at this point? Well, now I need to combine them. Now, again, realizing with that negative there, it's going to make both of those things negative. So when I'm writing this out, I need to be careful. X squared, then I have negative 4x minus 3x, which is going to give me a negative 7x. And then that is actually a negative 12 because we are subtracting these. So again, do be careful that you watch your signs there and realize that you are subtracting. Now again, if I want to write this x plus 4, x minus 4, remember this we can FOIL. So x and x is x squared. 4x minus 4x actually ends up canceling. So now we just have the minus 16. All right, let's go through one more example to make sure we're fully understanding how to get these. So here is one more example for us. And again, when we're dealing with these binomials, I'm going to take that x plus 3. That's what I multiply by over there. I take this x minus 5. That's what I'm going to multiply by over there. So now I'm getting x plus 3 times x plus 1 over that plus x times x minus 5 over that same x plus 3 x minus 5. So now you can see in order to reduce this, or in order to simplify this, we actually have quite a bit of foiling to do here. Okay? So looking at that, foiling that out, you get x times x gives you x squared. Then you have 1x and 3x, which gives you 4x. 1 times 3 gives you 3. X times x is x squared. 3x and negative 5x gives you a negative 2x. 3 times negative 5 gives you a negative 15. Here, all you have to do is distribute this one. It's not the foiling process. You really just have to distribute. And then notice the denominator is the same. So you've already done that work. You don't need to write out and work through the whole thing again. Don't reinvent the wheel. So notice, just like we should have, we have that common denominator. And now we have to look at the top. So x squared plus x squared, I have 2 of those x squareds. 4x minus 5x is a negative 1x. And then I still have that plus 3 sitting at the end. So that is the basic process of how to tackle these types of problems. So please make sure you have all of this written down. Come back with any questions that you may have from this video. And so come back, we will discuss those questions, and then we will work on our practice work together.